Today's guest is considered one of the sharpest operators in modern sales.
If you can go to anyone in your organization and they can tell you immediately who your ideal client profile is.
In this episode, we dive into why the podcast name has changed.
You're actually doing it in an organization that's turning over $100 million.
And what happens when over a $384 million org gets laser focused on the right audience.
Coming from that big corporate life, but driving some massive change and the challenges that comes from that, especially selling internally.
New format, new direction, and conversations that actually drive more revenue.
At the seat of the table that can actually sell, who is in market at the moment. Her name is
What do you think her name is?
Gotta go back. Welcome back to the Revenue Leaders Podcast. That's right, our name has changed. If you're a first-time listener, thank you for joining us. We hope you take away many actionable insights that are going to help you drive more revenue and drive your go-to-market function to achieve improved results. And if you're a long-time listener, we have some big changes happening. Our show name has changed to the Revenue Leaders. And why are we changing to the Revenue Leaders? So, my co-host that I've been doing this podcast with for so long, David can't sell for Stuka. But we now finally, after all this time, have somebody at the seat of the table who can actually sell, not like David can't sell for Stuka. Now he's laughing. You know why he's laughing? Because he knows his time is done here on the Revenue Leaders Podcast. So Regan, welcome to our show.
Thanks. And thanks for letting me join, guys. I really appreciate it.
Well, Riggs, we needed someone with actually a little bit of quality. I've got to give you a bit of shtick back. So it's a pleasure to have you here and looking forward to your insights as well.
Thank you so much. I would challenge though, if we were to look at the tally of what we've been selling lately, what we've been building, Dave's actually top of the leaderboard right now.
That's right, mate. Facts lie. Facts don't lie.
Yeah,
The facts don't lie, and I'm on top of the leaderboard while doing all the other work as well. So there you go, Lou. What do you got to say to that?
Yes. Well, nothing, because you're almost redundant in our show. Anyway, it's almost the Regan and Luigi show here, guys. Welcome to the Regan and Luigi show. No, but Riggs, for our listeners that are either joining us for the first time or have been a long time listener of the show, you were a guest on our show. But now, the whole premise of letting you join our show, it's actually the opposite. We feel privileged that we have somebody of your capability, somebody that is doing what we preach every single day. You're actually doing it in an organization that's turning over $100 million. So we just want to say thank you for being part of our show. But can you maybe just introduce yourself to our audience? What have you been doing? Where do you spend your time?
Oh, okay. Well, that's actually a pretty big question at the moment. Multiple hats, right? So at the moment, head of revenue operations for Grant Thornton Australia Limited. As a part of that, really focusing on sales transformation.
Yeah.
Right? So with that, inbound sales, outbound sales, a huge ABM net new go-to-market strategy that I think is probably one of the most exciting things I've built in the corporate world. And really transforming what we're doing there. And for the first time ever, leveraging an above-the-line advertising that the firm's doing in conjunction with Jessica Fox, which is so exciting. But then separately to that, starting to build something pretty cool with you two. Which
you forgot to mention
that
Regan is our fellow co-founder in Coachpilot.
Oh, that's right. Sorry. Can you tell us a bit about Coachpilot, Dave?
It's a product that we're bringing out to market to really challenge the status quo for what a sales coach looks like in an AI world, and how can AI enable sellers to basically win more, sell better, quicker, with having someone, I wouldn't say with the brain of Luigi, but say with the collective mindset and our experience, with that sort of assistance on tap, 24/7, no matter what time of day, no matter what you need within the revenue cycle, you've got the direct guidance from industry leaders to help guide you to win more deals faster. And we'll go deeper into that as more episodes come out and how that actually works in real life. But that's not what today's about. Like, I'd really love to dive deeper, Riggs, in relation to how your role has evolved at GT, and also we can touch on the Jess Fox element, because it's probably, you see companies throw tens of millions of dollars at a campaign where they just get someone that's well known in the space to sort of push their brand. But I think, especially within this market, and that's quote unquote within, a boring industry, with financial services, it was a big gamble by GT. So I'd love to know how you got that over the line internally. And, if you can share, what have been some of the results from this campaign?
So I would first of all say with any of this, I actually can't take any credit for it whatsoever. I've been someone applauding from the sidelines. This has been something that our brand manager, our senior brand manager, Liz, has focused on. It's been hugely driven by the CMO, Fraser McNaughton. And with that, what he's been able to do is get the executive on board, the board aligned to this, and they found a partnership in someone that not only is an incredible advocate for sport, for women, but also has aligned values with what Grant Thornton has as well. So there is an acronym called CARE, which is our four main values. Hers is race, and if you actually look at the comparison of each of the letters of what they represent, it's exactly the same, or if not quite close. So we're working with someone that has that same values going forward. And I think that that's really important with any sort of brand alignment that you're going to be doing, is to be able to reflect on where do we want to go to market, who are we going to partner with that has the same drive, the same passion, because I think that that's where, you can spend a lot of money, invest, but that's what really elevates those sort of above the line advertising campaigns.
Pardon the quick interruption. I'm Stella from the media team. You'll notice we don't run sponsors or ad reads on Revenue Leaders. The show is free. Our goal is to help you grow revenue and build a sales system you can rely on. We do have a favor to ask, though. If this episode gives you one clear idea you can use, do these two things. First, share it with one person, a founder, a revenue leader, or a rep who wants to grow. Just one. That's how the show grows. Second, grab free access to our vault over at coachpilot.com/vault. Inside, you'll get the frameworks, templates, and short courses we use with clients to scale pipeline and increase close rates. So the deal is simple. If you get value, share the episode with one person and go to coachpilot.com/vault to get the tools to put this into action. All right, let's get back to it.
Hey, Riggs, I do want to talk about something just on that topic, right? You're talking about leveraging, above the line, kind of go-to-market ambassador. But what I've seen, and you mentioned Fraser, and I think we both have, I definitely have a man crush on Fraser, who's the chief marketing officer at GT and your boss. But I think you mentioned the strategy, getting the execs on board. This isn't something that he started in the last 6 or 12 months. This is a strategy that he started, 5-6 years ago, right?
Yeah, when we think about all of this, we have to actually first go back for many years, and even before my time at GT. So I think it's probably almost like a 10-year roadmap here, is that before they could go into any above the line advertising, you got to create a sales culture.
Yeah.
Or even a sales methodology, but then you have to go back further and it has to be then based on culture. So they prioritize culture, then they prioritized a sales build, and then it's like, all right, let's go out and from a brand perspective and then make even more benefits from that brand perspective as well.
Because we talk about it, right? Like the whole premise of the above the line is to obviously create awareness.
Yeah.
But what I know I've been privileged to see, GT do so well over the past 5 years is to become laser focused on who their target audience, right? It's been something they've really obsessed about is to say, these are the customers we want to play in. And we talk about on this show, right? It's all about revenue. It's all about go-to-market. Now, when you look at one of the biggest challenges facing most go-to-market leaders is often their sales force, their team are focused on the wrong type of customers. If we think about GT, why have they been so successful these last 5 years? It's becoming really obsessed, and maybe you can talk a bit more about that. The importance of nailing your ideal customer profile, of nailing who your audience, who are you serving, and how are you serving, and how are you showing up?
So, like on that, I think you even need to make sure that if you don't know your ICP, you actually need to make it a culture change. So, what you would need to think about there is just ask anyone in your organization, and like this, use this tip. If you can go to anyone in your organization and they can tell you immediately who your ideal client profile is, you're fine.
Yep.
If there are ahs, and there's too many, we do it all. Like I used to ask partners, like, who is your ideal client profile? And they're like, I can service everyone. It's like, great. How efficient or inefficient is that?
Yeah.
So unless you can ask that question to absolutely anyone within the organization for them to respond, for Grant Thornton, private business, mid-market, these are our clients. We focus on private enterprise, and it's drilled into us. It's like, and we promote it. We want to be a part of that journey. So unless you can specifically say that, then you really need to go back to basics. The piece that makes sure that it's impactful as well is that whatever you're doing in an organization, unless at the start of anything that you do, any project, any sales initiative, any transformation, hold on a second. What's our ICP on this?
100%.
So that needs to be one of the first questions that you ask.
And what's interesting, obviously knowing the business quite well because I've consulted and worked in the business for such a long time, is you talk about ICP, you look at traditional, say, tech companies or got an ICP, and they might have a number of them, but what makes your role so challenging is the fact that you've got so many different service lines. You've got different offerings. So the ICP can be quite different from one service line to another. And again, I think for a lot of organizations, we take for granted that the ICP we think is fundamental. It's foundation stuff. But yet so many companies we talk to don't have that foundation in place, right? So if you were to give anyone advice now, your peers, RevOps leaders, go-to-market leaders that are looking to make a transformation in their organization and they're looking to bring that baseline stuff in place, what would be a piece of advice you'd give them when it comes to really nailing your audience?
Oh,
I'll put you under the pump here.
Yeah.
And I don't ask Dave this question because he can't answer it.
Yeah, sorry,
He's Dave can't sell for Stuka.
I feel victimized on today's podcast.
You can bring that up with HR.
Could say something. It's an important point because it's like you can sell to many different ICPs. I guess like maybe an easier question on that one is, how did GT come up with the ICP? And then how did you get consensus across all the partners?
Well, to a degree, you don't get consensus because it's 180 partners, Dave, with 180 plus services, right?
Well, you can say different opinions.
And different opinions. Yeah. We all agree that we have a common goal and we're heading towards the same horizon. And what we've found is that our sweet spot is private enterprise. Mm-hmm. So, yes, do we do other work? Absolutely we do. And of course, we've got the capability there. And in fact, we're bringing in some really exciting, very capable lateral hires. We've got a lot of interest, which is fantastic. So that's going to continue to build, but then it's purposeful, right? So then what we do is say, okay, with these set of ICPs, we're going to make sure that the service line strategy is there, making sure we have really good industry strategy. We've got the overall firm strategy, and then let's hone in on some really exciting, innovative go-to-market strategies. We're trying and building out integrated campaigns from a Forrester model, building like the ABM integrated model. So what I'd say is like, it's okay to have multiple ICPs. In fact, I encourage it because it actually means that you're going to be very specific. So, for a professional services firm, yes, I would imagine you would have a lot of ICPs. I've asked every partner to create at least 2, but then what you see is synergies across those ICPs and it helps connect internally. That to me is great. Yeah. Because you might have different ICPs across it, but like multiple businesses are going to need multiple services. So that's a benefit there. But if you have like a product suite, that you could count on 2 hands, that's also okay to have a few ICPs, but just be specific with them. So that way that you are purposeful, you're heading in the same direction, you can test and tailor your marketing, you can create those sales efficiencies. Because to me, an ICP isn't just to know who you're going after, it's to make your sales process efficient. Otherwise, it's all right, for you two, big football fans, kids on a soccer field, that ball goes that way, everyone runs that way, right? You end up being marketing or market reactive.
Yeah.
Whereas like if you look at, kids soccer versus, the Premier League, huge difference, right? Everyone knows what role to play and and the ball eventually comes to them. That's how I would see the benefit of ICPs.
Dave could never get the ball. That's
why
why
he's
he's
a coach.
defender. He was, and that's always it.
You're a goalkeeper, mate, so don't even start. Right? That's the least, I won't say the least talented, but you are the least talented.
So, Riggs, and just before, because I do want to make sure that we talk a bit about today, like we've got a new podcast, as in when we say new, obviously new format.
You brought in some talent.
Finally brought in some talent. No, it's been a hard path, hard journey to get here. No, I do want to talk about what we're going to discuss, what we're going to cover, but just on that topic, right? Because I think for many leaders, it's often, I think, brushed over, right? You talk about ICP, you talk about personas, which is for me are the foundations that you need to execute before going to market. But I think a lot of, even today, sales leaders are faced with resistance from their team when it comes to ICP. So, and I know how much resistance you faced when trying to embark on this. Talk us through what were some of your strategies in how to reduce that resistance and actually turn those that were, let's say, not on board to becoming advocates.
So I personally use in anything that I do, and I actually did this presentation with Dave recently around like how to change individual goals to personal and professional, how to create change within organizations. Have it change. Don't see an application of this or resistance to change as someone rejecting your idea. Similar to sales, like you will have objections and that you need to overcome.
Yeah.
Change management is probably one of the most important things that you need internally. So I use a very simple model that many people would probably criticize, but it's called Cotter's 8. It's like came out in John Cotter, 1965 or around that time. And it's just like 8 simple steps that you essentially have to apply for driving change. You create urgency. You get people like champions on board really, really early. I'm not trying to get the majority. The majority is too hard. That's like herding cats. You get a few like absolute guns that you can focus on. So your top 1%, let's focus on that. Let's get some wins on there. That's why, quick wins so you can start storytelling. Nothing is more powerful than storytelling, whether it's in sales or internal bureaucracy, right? So get that on board. Then you can look at what other obstacles am I going to face? You're going to face the masses on not wanting to do it, thinking it's administration. So then once they start seeing those stories, they're like, oh, this is actually working. In fact, they're going after similar clients to me and they're actually winning earlier, faster, better, And so if we can continue to do that, that's where you end up getting the right, I guess, momentum internally. I would always make sure that you step through those steps of Cotter's 8 or any other change management to then leverage that momentum as you go on, and then the rest will jump on the bus.
Yeah.
There was a great analogy that a board member of GT uses, and he's always like, just imagine it as like change as a bus driver. You got to jump on the bus, you take the same route over and over again, and then eventually you'll start picking everyone up. And that's exactly right for anything that you want to apply, whether it's in sales or not.
Yeah. That's not a bad analogy, actually.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I'd still
take note.
So, look, obviously today, we wanted to keep this just quite an informal chat, right? And we've spoken about a few cool things. I think ICP, the importance of think about your audience. Dave spoke a bit about above the line, but definitely the importance of coming back to basics and getting the foundations in place. But what can we expect, Dave, from this new podcast? New format.
New formats, there's going to be a few changes, new guests as well. So now you can see we've got this beautiful round table. So it's going to be great discussions. And we've got, when it's even just us three, there's 3 different views, opinions and experiences. Obviously, Regan coming from, that big corporate life, but driving some massive change and the challenges that comes from that, especially selling internally and also having to have a team and hit a number from an external view. Luigi, been in the game of sales for decades now, even though your hair doesn't show that. Training some elite teams, Stripe, HubSpot, GT, and many others that people will know the brands of, but seeing inside the thousands and thousands of salespeople that you've trained over the years, that experience there, which I will give you a compliment today on the podcast, is really hard to come by. And then myself, from being a ground zero founder twice over, building from ground zero to building a team to exit to then having to deal with big corporate, and I'll be honest, really struggling with that, and probably will never do that again. Very different opinions with different varying sales teams, very different budgets. Yeah. So collectively, it's going to be a great rounded views that we're going to bring. And we're also going to bring in other revenue leaders, hence the title of the podcast. We're going to dive deep into what's working in other companies, whether you're a CMO, head of revenue, CRO, even a CEO. We're going to be having people unveil what's working and what's not. Yeah. And obviously, being within the Coachpilot space that we're building, we're going to be talking a lot about how AI is affecting this industry. So awesome episodes are coming up.